Well, welcome back. Session number 9, incredibly, it went by like a breeze the last couple of weeks and all of these different sessions. Uh, Today we have something planned which is super interesting because we're going to try to bring most of the concepts that we worked on over the last couple of weeks to do something that is not design-wise very difficult, but it's an assembly and you're putting things together. So it might be a little bit more where we can bring out our creativity, and that's related to making spinning teacups. So let's jump straight into the agenda. And what I want to specifically speak about is about gears, about how to make mechanical mates, which is how to make gears move in assemblies, and then how to make perhaps an animation or something like that. Before I get started, do you guys have any questions, as usual, about anything? I think I'll take this chance to say that every single file, including the slides for this session and the files that I get for this session, are already in the website. Hopefully, you guys know where to find that website, the GitHub, right, that I've been building. That will remain there forever. It's the same thing with the YouTube videos. So you can always consult them. You can always email me afterwards, after we're done. If you ever have any CAD question in the future, I'm more than happy to help with that. For me, it's always fun. But otherwise, as we go, well, I'm sure you guys will have questions. So this is what I think that we could do today. At least start doing with this. I'll start first introducing a little bit about gears, and then we'll jump straight into this example. We'll see how much time it takes us, and then if we have more time, I can answer any questions about anything that you guys might want to know, or we can do another little example. So let me go down to SolidWorks. Spinning teacups. Why spinning teacups? Because I think they're fun, right? No, it's like if you've ever been to Disney World. Oh, let me actually hide in here. There we go. If you've ever been to Disney World, right? It's one of the attractions in Fantasyland, if I'm not mistaken. It's always fun, right? The line is relatively short, and when you're there, you can ride it. And once they start spinning, right, with all of these gear ratios, it can get very intense. So in my mind, this is what I wanted to do with you guys. Something that looks more or less like this. So this is the end goal of where I hope you guys will end. And you can do a little animation that I'm going to show you how to do that I was playing around yesterday night. So you see the main one moves, and then each individual one moves, and then each one of the caps also moves. So it's like a complicated like gear system in there. And obviously this is the Mad Hatter, right? The Mad Hatter is crazy. And it's all, there's a lot of craziness going on when you have all of the gears moving around. I can show you again. I'm very happy with the result. I was just a little bit lazy coloring all of the caps differently. So I just made them 3 colors. It looks, I think, pretty decent. The one thing that I didn't quite change is that where all of these hearts are, that should actually be purple instead of green. So that's our version of the Mad Hatter's hat. So let's go to the version that we're going to design, which is, let's go down to SolidWorks. There we go. I'm going to start a part. And now, every time I'm working with gears, one thing that I like to do is starting with a sketch. Is go to the top plane. Hopefully, you guys are also in SolidWorks. And what I want to do is just design using sketch lines, more or less the outline of all of the spots where these gears will be placed. In other words, I want to know like what the housing for these gears will be. So one way to do it is just, I can start by doing a circle, right? And suppose that this circle in there represents our main gear, right? So I can say that our main gear will be 1 inch big, right? And then I can do another center line. And I can say that this is going to be like a dependent gear, right? So I'm going to say that dependent gear is going to be 0.70, maybe 0.6, right? So there's something that I'm going to illustrate right away in just a second. And then I'm going to make them relatively close. I'll say 0.81, right? Almost as if they were in contact. And then I'm going to right click in this circle and make it a construction line. I'll right click in the other one and make it a construction line. So this is more or less, it's a sketch made out of construction lines that depicts our gear space. And this one will be our master sketch. In fact, everything that we'll do today will be based from this sketch again. And what I like about this is that it's already telling you a bunch of information. First, that if this is your main gear and that's a dependent gear, then you have a gear ratio of 1 to 0.6, right? So for one rotation of this one, this is going to rotate 1 over 0.6 times. So that is a little bit less than twice. I don't know, it's like 1.8, 1.6, something like along those lines. So now one thing that I want to do for our spinning teacups, what we could do is we could have a setup where we have like say 4 teacups, right? That are rotating on the side. So what we could do is I could do a circular pattern of this line and that line. There we go. I'll say, okay. So that is just depicting the space where we are. And then what I'll do is I'm just gonna do a bunch of little circles and you'll see what these ones will represent in a moment. And I can make these ones be 0.25. Actually, let's make them 0.15. Just get rid of that. I'm gonna select control, 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 control. I'll make all of those equal. Very good. And then we have our central gear. I'm also gonna make that one be the same as that one. I'll make that equal. And then I'm gonna make just a bigger circle. It's gonna be like that. I'll make that one 2.5. So this is gonna be like a toy model, right, of our gear system. And I'll exit our sketch. So now I'm gonna save this one. So hopefully you have something that looks more or less like this. I'm gonna save this sketch and I'm gonna call it, so I'm gonna create a new folder and I'm gonna call it, so I have another one that's spinning teacups, that's the one that I just showed you. So I'm gonna call this one teacups example, whatever you wanna call it. And then I'll call this sketch master sketch. And the reason why I want to create a master sketch that looks like this is because now everything that I'm gonna do afterwards will be copy pastes of this thing, right? So for instance, one thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click here and I'll say file save as, and I'll click here in that option that goes save as copy and open. And instead of calling that master sketch, I'm gonna call it base. For instance, right? I'm gonna call this base. Oh, I already have one. I'll call it base example. Very good. I'll keep the original open, right? So now let me just close all of these things. I was just working around with a quick example myself. So we got master sketch, we got the base example. So now what I can do is go back to the sketch. And on this one that's called base example, I can just extrude it upwards by some amount. And I'm gonna leave it like that. So this is gonna be our platform where all of our gears will be sitting down, right? Then another thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here to sketch. Actually, I wanna show this sketch. Very good. And do a sketching here. And then I'm gonna make a circle that goes all the way like that. I'm gonna make that 2.3. Then I'm gonna convert entities, this little circle. And now I wanna make like a little encapsulation, right, for this thing. So that way the gears are like hidden in there. And you'll see what all of this will mean in just a moment, right? Once we start playing around a little bit more with all of these things. So we got that in there, and then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here to sketch, and then I'm just gonna convert entities, all of this stuff, and then I can extrude downwards, maybe by 0.5, and I'm gonna give this some draft outwards by 50 degrees. And then I can just hide it. So that's gonna be, I guess, our little, and it can be, you can add a bit more decoration, and I can say, all right, convert entities. And I'm gonna save this file. Yeah, so that's just making it look pretty, right? This little structure over here. So then another thing that I can do is go here to the front sketch, and I can do a little sketch. And then I can say convert entities, that line in there. I can make that a construction geometry, and then make another center line that goes like that. I'm gonna click, yeah, doesn't matter, save, I can exit, and then I can do one little plane in that point and that line. I can go here to sketch, and I can design like a rhombus, for instance, right? I can do something that is Bailey like this. What I can say is, all right, I'm gonna make all of these lines equal. Then I'm gonna go from here, right, to there, to there. I'm gonna make those two equal as well. I'm gonna make these two parallel as well. There we go. So now all that remains is to design, maybe fix the height in here to be maybe 0.3. And then I can define the angle here to be 110. Actually, no, 110 would be good. Let's see, 115. There we go. And then I can extrude this little rhombus downwards. Yeah, we can do 0.05 and then upwards by 0.01. That way, at least you can see the little row, and then I can hide that in there. There we go. Now what I can do then is a little circular pattern where I want to pattern that, and then along these directions, I can say I want maybe 20 of these. So now we're making it look a little bit more map, right? By giving it some more interesting features. Any questions up to this point on how to make this platform? I can start going around. The only thing that I'll change in here is I can just change the colors. I can go here to body. And then do here to circular pattern. Make that green. There we go. No, so that's gonna be the base of our simplified spinning teacups assembly in here. So I'm gonna leave it like that. So remember, the way I started this is that I had a sketch that we called master that was simply something that looked like this, right? All of these would represent the different gears, and these solid line circles, they represent the, I guess, the holes along which they're rotating. And then I saved this sketch, and that's from where I started in here, right? Because that is what I call sketch one over there. But let me just go around and then I'll be back here. I guess the next thing I want to do is I just want to start building a mock gear system, right? So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to go here to, actually to our master sketch. And I'm going to go back here and I'll say file, save as. And I'll save as the master sketch, in this case as cap, I'm going to call it cap gear. And I'll say save. I'll say keep original open. So now that we are in the cap gear, I'm going to do another sketch. Very easy sketch in this case. And it's as easy as just converting one of the circles and extruding that circle upwards by 0.1. That's it. That's all we're gonna do. And in fact, well, I'm gonna do actually one more thing, which is another sketch in here. I'm gonna convert entities that by point, and I'm gonna bring that downwards. Excellent. And then I will just hide this thing. So that little pin, that is gonna be our cap gear for now. We're gonna make it look like a gear in just a moment more properly. I'm gonna leave that in that way. And then the other one that I'm gonna do is go again to our master sketch. I'm gonna go here to file, save as. I'm gonna call it main gear. Save as copy and open. Keep the original document open, excellent. And I'm gonna do another sketch in the front, in the top plane, very good. And all I'm gonna convert now is that one, very good. And I'm gonna bring that one upwards by 0.1, excellent. And then I'm gonna do another sketch down here. And I'm gonna convert that sketch and bring it down by 0.1, very good. And that's it, that is as easy as it gets to making a mock gear setup, because now what I can do is I'm gonna create an assembly. So I'll go here to file, new, assembly, right? So what parts will this assembly have? Well, I'll start with the base example, right? Which is the part that you guys just made. And then I'm gonna insert components and I'll insert the cap gear, which is this one right there. So I'll do Control C and I will create Control B for this, very good. And now the mates that I'm gonna use is I'm gonna click in mate and I'm gonna click in this face and I'm gonna click in that face and I'll make those two concentric. And then I can click in this face. Oh, not in that one. And then in here, and I can make that coincident. Let's do it again. So I'm gonna click in this face, and I click in that face, and that is concentric. And then in that face, and in that face, that is coincident. Oh, let me do that again over here. Excellent. Now that one kind of disappeared. So I need to figure out, I need to hide this for a second. There we go. I'm gonna show it again. And now what I can do is make this face and that face. Excellently. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this one over here. This face and this face. And now finally, I'm gonna insert another component, and this one's gonna be our main gear. So the main gear is gonna also be concentric here, concentric there. Let me hide this for a second. There we go. Let me show it again. And then I'm gonna do a mate between this face and this face. All right, so these are, and I put a quote unquote gears, right? There's nothing too fancy about it. They are just circles. And I'll go around because I know you guys will need help in here. But the premise of all of this stuff is that there's a type of mate, if you guys look in here, that's called mechanical mate. I can click in there and I can click on gear. And what this one does is that if I were to click in this and that face, now they are gonna be, as we were saying before, it's the same gear ratio that we were chatting about a moment ago, and it's 1 to 0.6, and say, okay. And I'll do the same thing, another gear mate between this one and that one. And then I'll do another gear mate between this one and that one. And then I'll finish by doing yet another gear mate between this one and that one. So what does all of this do is that it's gonna be kind of hard to see now, but whenever I'm rotating one, all four of them rotate as well. I guess the best way to see that is, well, now you don't see it now. When we give these guys teeth, that's when you'll be able to see it properly. But you can see here, if you follow like the lines, they're all rotating at the same time. So in other words, the way that our spinning teacups will work is that we're gonna have like some device in here that's gonna be rotating, and then all of these guys, all of the cups will rotate at the same time as well. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm gonna go here to file and I'll say save. I'll call it cups assembly. There we go. Right, so for those of you that more or less go to this point with the gears, one thing that I'm gonna do is add the teeth. which is not an easy thing to do. So to add the teeth, I'm gonna go here to cap gear, right? And the way to do that is I'm gonna do a sketch here on the top. And then I'm gonna make a center line that goes, yeah, all the way down, it's fine. And then the question is, how many teeth do you want, right? Because I already established the, how is it called? I already established the gear mate using this face in here. So the teeth are just for decoration purposes. Like they don't really serve. In fact, let me actually take a look in here at something in my, now you can see, right, how all of them spin at the same time, which is pretty cool. The thing is that they would definitely interfere a little bit. So what I can do is maybe for the purposes of, here's what I'm gonna do. For the purposes of our analysis today, we're not gonna give them teeth to these things, but I'm gonna show you really quickly how I would design maybe a gear. This is just for completion purposes, right? But for now, just a simplified analysis, we're gonna leave the gears like this. If you wanted to do a proper gear, the correct way of doing it would be like this. And there's all sorts of math that you can do that tells you, but I would start by doing a circle. In fact, the gears that I did in my own example yesterday night was also like the simplified form. And then when I would do a center line that goes like this, and then suppose you want 20 teeth, right? So I'm gonna do another line like that, and then I do smart dimension. I'm gonna make 360 over 20. That way I know that that's the, I guess, the wedge that corresponds to a teeth. So then what I can do is just click like somewhere in here and do like this. And I'm gonna make those two equal. Again, this is just for your guys' purposes, while that way you have like something to see what we're working. And then I'm gonna make two little arches. That. And I can make the two center lines that go from here to there. Barely noticeable, but the point of this is that now and click on this center line, control that one in there, and I'll make those two equal. That way it's all well positioned. And then another thing that I can do is get another line that goes like this. I'm gonna grab this one, grab that one, and I'll make that perpendicular. Very good. So now most of our tip is doing well. Now another thing I can do is define an angle in here. Actually, this is not allowing us to. There we go. I'm just gonna, because I want to change the angle of this stuff as well. Excellently. So I can say that, for instance, I want the angle between here and here to be like 100. And also the angle between here and here to be 102. Oh, very nice. And then yes, I can. Oh, I can join these two like that. Excellent. I'm gonna do a center line that goes all the way like that. And then I guess the last thing that I would need to define is just the height between here and here, which you can say it is a 0.75. Then that distance to make it 0.5. Very good. So now that we got all of this, I'm just gonna close our wedge. So now you see that I have a full teeth, and then I can just go here, extrude upwards by some amount, it doesn't matter. And then the last thing that I could do is just do a circular pattern along this edge. And what do I want to pattern? All of this stuff, and I say that I want 20. That's how you would make an extremely custom gear. But we're not going to do that today because, you know, in the interest of time, and also I need to do a lot of math that is going to make us waste time. So just reach this point. And once you've actually reached this point, let me show you. I created these gear mates. So once you have them all placed in there, all you would do is click here in mate. And then you go here to mechanical. And then you click on gear. And you click on that face. And then you click on that face. Because you're establishing the mate in that particular way. And I think it's like super easy. So you would do something like that. And if you do that, let me go back to my little cap gear, and I can show this sketch. That way you guys can see it. Every time I rotate, all of them are rotating at the same time, which is pretty nice. So hopefully you guys are reaching a similar point. All right, so now what I want to do is, this is more like stylistic things that I want to do, but I think it's useful. So I'm gonna go now back to our master sketch, and I'm gonna create yet one more. I'm gonna go here, master sketch, and I'm gonna call it top. So I'm gonna create yet one more part. I'll say save. If there's a document, yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna make a new sketch over here, and I'm gonna start converting entities. I'm gonna convert that, and then I think that what I want to convert is maybe all of these circles. But the reality is that what I want to do with all of these circles, I'll make them construction geometries, really. And then I'm gonna offset them all by 0.1 inwards. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna offset all of these inwards by 0.1. So this is really to close off the top of our spinning teacups, and you'll see it in a second what I mean for that. Convert entities. And I want to offset. And then I'm just bringing it by 0.1. I can hide this. I can say save. So the reason for this is because then I come back to our assembly, and then I'm gonna insert components top, and this is really the piece that goes in the top. So how exactly does it work? It's like this. So I'm gonna make a mate where this and this is concentric, another mate where this and that are laid, and then I need to make sure that this circle and this circle are concentric too, that way it doesn't move. Okay, so now when I'm, so that way I have something that is like covering this stuff. So this, I guess, the platform of our, so now when we have the teacups, they're gonna be up there. So now what does this mean? That now we need to go back to our gears, which is exactly what I'm gonna do, and then do a little sketch. And I'm gonna do a sketch right there. Actually, not even a sketch. You can just do offset entities of this exact same stuff. Good. And bring that up by, let's do 0.11 in this case. And you see exactly what does that. What that does is that now we go to our assembly. There you go. So you can only see the top face. Does that make sense? What I did in here, I just designed using our master sketch, like the top of the box. So I'm just gonna give this, I'm gonna give it some color. So I'm gonna go back to top, and I'll make this, let's say, orange. And then I'm gonna give it a little I'm gonna give it a chamfer. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the main gear as well. What was this one? Oh, this one I don't need it. Oh, main gear. I go to here, sketch, and now I'm gonna offset entities inwards. Very good. I'm gonna extrude that upwards by 0.11. Excellently. Oh, one of the. Oh, I see. So now, if you were to make like this is pretty cool because if you were to make like a 3D printed model of this thing, now you can because everything is split up into different parts. So you have the base, you have the top casing. Again, I can hide this thing and you can see the interior of how this is looking like. I made that little capsule so that the gears could sit there. But I'm gonna show it again. So now it's where the fun starts up here because we're gonna start designing in just a moment the teacups themselves. But we're gonna wait for that. In fact, what I'm gonna start doing now is that I'm gonna start designing a little bit of the cups. Right, so design the cups. I just go to the main gear, which is this one, and I can go to front plane. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna play around for now. Because really, what I wanna do. I mean, don't just design the cups. We need to design the plates where the cups sit. And once you have the plates, then you can design the cups on top of them. I'm just being a little bit extra with how I'm defining. You see, I'm more of a coffee person more than tea, so this is a little bit of a difficult challenge. I had to investigate a lot about teacups that I'm more used to just cardboard cups. It would be nice if you made it like a Starbucks spinning cup instead of, which we could definitely do, but not today. Get it like that. This. Oh boy. Oh, I did it on the wrong gear. That is very sad. You see, like, don't be like me and do this stuff. I mean, this was just practice. It was just, are you guys ready for making the plates? Okay, I'll take the silence as a yes then. I'm gonna go to cap gear, which is where I should have been, and then click on here front plane. Very good. I click sketch, and then what I'm gonna do is convert entities this line, and then I will make that. So now I just wanna, the first thing I'm gonna do is first define a little line like that, and then oh, with a little center line, I wanna define how big I want my teacup to be, and I'll say exit. So then I'm gonna go back to our teacups assembly, and I wanna see whether there's any interference. And as you can see, there will be. In fact, that is too big. I should make, so I'm gonna go back to cap gear. I need to make my cup, at least the plate of the cup significantly smaller, maybe like that dimension. I'm gonna exit, so we go back to our assembly. I just wanna, it's possible that that is still a little bit too big. In fact, what I should, let me see. Yeah, that might be on the limit, so I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller still. Maybe like that. Very good. So that's good. That way you can save yourself editing time afterwards. So I'll make that 0.45. Depending on your dimensions, it might be different. So then I'm gonna make a little plate structure that's gonna go like that. I want my plate to be, say, 0.04 tall. I will make it 0.16 like that. And then like that. And then I'm gonna add this one. Don't worry about the detail that I'm including right now. This is just because I want to do it, but it's okay. I think this is the easiest way of adding the detail that I want to add. Say equal. Very good. Oh, I'm gonna make those two tangent. Oh, I think like that is fine. And then I'm gonna close it off. It doesn't need to be perfect, the plate. Obviously, this is just an approximation. But if we were to do a revolve now around here, then you get a little structure like that. I think it looks all right, right, for the plate. And the reason why I did this line is because I wanna color it differently. That way it has like a little shape. So now if I go back to teacups assembly, you see that? Yes. None of them are interfering. Maybe I was a little bit too conservative with the size, but I like it. So now, look, they're all spinning at the same time, at least all of the plates. So what I can do is now, for instance, color or cap gear, and I can color that body oh, as to make it like green, and I can make that face, for instance, like that. Like blue. Let's go back here. You could potentially save as each one of these cups as different parts. So then you can change the colors, but in the interest of time, just because I'm lazy, I'm just gonna leave them as the same color. So any questions on how to make the plates? So then like a very similar approach is the one that I would use to make the cup that will go on top of the plate, right? Because now I can just go back to cup gear and then go back to the same plane, in this case, the front plane. I can click on sketch. And now I can convert entities, that little line. And actually, I want my little cup to be just slightly smaller. I'm gonna make it 0.15. Very good. So now let's make our Mad Hatter a cup. Very good. All the way like this. I'm gonna give it some, there was some curvature. Very nice. And now I'm gonna make that line and that line and that line just construction geometry because I want to do a quick offset entities inwards by 0.02 or maybe 0.03. Very good. And the reason why I'm doing that is because now I'm gonna complete that line. I'm just gonna do it this way. Oh, I'm gonna maybe complete the spline. Again, I'm not sure how caps look like. This one is gonna be our CAD class cap. Maybe that looks decent. So then I can go here to features and then revolve. We have ourselves our little cup, but I want the color of the cup to be different because obviously that it wouldn't be fun. I'm gonna go to revolve and I'm gonna make that purple. Good. And I want the top part of the cup to be a different color even. So I'm gonna make that face be orange. Very nice. So now we go back to our assembly. See that now we got 4 cups. So it's starting to look pretty nice already. And you cannot see them spinning until we add the handle. But now I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna go around to make sure that we're all in this stage. And then we're gonna add the handles to the little cups. Let's make the handle, right? Because I think you guys are interested in that point. So let's go back to our friend, the cap, okay, the cap gear. But make the handle, I'm gonna go back to the front plane. And it's actually very easy. It's just a matter of converting entities this edge. And I'll make that into a construction geometry. And then really it's up to your creativity on how you make like a nice little handle design. Very good. Excellently. And then all I'm gonna do is just join it like that. I got a friendly hand. It doesn't matter because these straight lines that I'm doing are just for the interior. And now all I can do is very good, just making. I can extrude by a little bit in both directions. I can say maybe 0.05 and 0.06. It's possible that this might not, like, let's see how this looks like. It actually looks decent. Very good. So now you see why I did the straight lines, right? Because otherwise it doesn't stick perfectly. That looks very nice. But I'm actually gonna change the color of this because I want this to be orange as well. And then what we can do is go here to fillet and obviously fillet this by some amount. Still orange. There we go. And now we go back to our assembly. They all have their handles, and indeed, now they're starting to all spin at the same time, which is very nice. And now you can see them properly doing their thing. But we're not quite done because I want to have this, I want this to have a roof in the top. So I'm not yet gonna do anything. I'm gonna just make this file and save. I'll give that a shot. Let me show you guys something fun. I can go to my cap gear and I can go here to, I'm gonna save it as a copy and I'll say cap gear Coke for to give you an idea, right? I'm just gonna save that, keep a original document open, and I'm gonna get rid of the cap on top of it. It doesn't matter. So what I can do is there's a thing. This is a territory that I generally don't explore, but it's good to be aware of. Where you can insert parts inside of parts. So for instance, I can browse in here for the Diet Coke. I can literally bring the Diet Coke in here, and I'll say yes, that's fine. And now I have I mean, obviously the size doesn't matter, so I would need to select all of this. This is just some fun stuff while you guys are like working on your own things, just to have it as an aside. Note it here. Well, I could potentially select all of this thing. Okay, to insert, features, scale, and I can scale it down to 0.1 its size. Oh, you know what? Maybe 0.2. Let's see how would that look like. Oh, I should have scaled that down as well. Right. The problem is I forgot that I made them individual body, so I'll just hide that one. Very good. And now I believe here I okay to insert like tools. Tools was it like it was like somewhere in move. Ah, here. Move. Actually. Oh, I know. So now, I mean, you'll have it at least on the video, right? But if you wanted a more spicy type of cup, right? Which is one thing that I may add on ours. You can have like your Diet Coke cup instead. which could be very interesting. So I can go here to the face and change the color to red. And then no sugar, no calories. I can go back to our teacups assembly, just get rid of one of the teacups. I'll just say delete. Doesn't matter, then I can hide this component for a moment, then I can insert, and I can bring this unusual looking teacup in here, and you could mate that and that. This and that. And then I need to do our friend the gear mate. Very good. And I can show. Now, theoretically, this is like the World of Coke advertisement in here, like, right? You have, I knew the Diet Coke can would come again, right? Because what nobody knows is the content of the teacups. The content is actually Coke. Like you can drink it from a can, you can drink it from there. And I think you can do it in the video, like it's shown in there. Anyway, let's continue, right? Because we still have an hour more, and there's a couple more things I want to do. So what I want to do is I want to build a structure that goes from the middle and brings a roof to this thing. So I think this one just be creative, right? But I'm gonna go to our main gear, and essentially what I'll do is a little circle here about this big. You can make it 0.45. I'll extrude it by 0.1. I'll give it some draft of 20. Very good. And then I'm gonna make like a column-like structure. I'll make that 0.15. Oh, say 0.12. Yeah, 0.75. That sounds good. And then I want this to go. Oh, 3 is too much. One could be okay because then I'm gonna mirror it. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a circular pattern of this column where along that direction I wanna have 4. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a mirror along this plane of this and that, this. Oh, apparently the boss extrude didn't get mirror, but that's fine. Well, because what I can do is I don't even know. I should like that. Yeah, right. Decrease the size to 0.75. I'm just adding decoration, right? Like nothing, nothing too fancy. Up to surface. Do sketch in here. Do another circle. I can actually convert entities. Now one, and then extrude upwards by 0.1 with a draft of 20, but in the opposite direction, so it becomes identical. So now we go back to our teacups assembly. Yeah, I think that's gonna look nice. like a little central column. And then all that remains to be done is just some roof-like structures. I think the best thing that we could do here is we go to the right plane and we do a sketch on the right plane. I'm gonna convert entities, this stuff. I'll make that a construction geometry. I believe I'm gonna make this 2 inches. Let's see. Actually, no, 2 inches might be a lower. I can always go back to the assembly and see how much is 2 inches. Yeah, maybe I'll make it like, like 1.2. Or even better, I can just go here to evaluate what is this diameter. 58.42 millimeters, which doesn't mean anything to me at the moment. I'm gonna convert measuring here. I'm gonna change the units to inches. Good. 2.3. So I know what I have to do. So I'm gonna go back to our main gear. So that has to be 1.15. Excellent. So just gonna make like a nice little structure in here. Make that be 0.05. Make this be 0.1. Actually, I'll make that 0.025. Then 0.05. Wait. I'll make this one and that one equal. Here, you don't need to follow strictly what I'm doing. You can make your roof in any way you want. Like I'm just following my imagination here. I want this to be as tall as this. Make a center line that goes just like that. And I know that I'm gonna need this for afterwards. So I'm gonna do the features, revolve. You got ourselves a nice little roof. But then I'm gonna show this sketch because I'm gonna create another plane here and there. And I'm gonna make like a little sphere for decorative purposes, like I had on my original. Make these two equal. Boom. Good. There we go. That's some dimensions. Make that 0.03. And let's take that point and that line, make that coincident. And then we can make a little revolve. There we go. Now what we can do is a little circular pattern of this guy around this direction by 20. Boom. So let's give this some color. Circular pattern, I'm gonna make that red. Let's see how this looks like in our teacups assembly. Nice. Very nice. Now that I've done mine, I'll start going around before we move into the last part of today, which is making an animation of this thing. That way you can make a little video. Maybe one thing that I might do on mine is I might go to the main gear, I might make these columns just a little bit shorter. I'll make them 0.5. Oh, you see, but all of the spline changes. So I need to go back to. But actually, first let me see whether the height is better. Actually, I do not mind it that way, but I'm gonna. Make that actually 0.65 instead. Well, I'm gonna go to that revolve and I'm gonna edit. All right, I never established how much that had to be. I like that. That looks decent. I'm gonna actually do a little edit on my orange piece. I feel I can make it look nicer. I'm gonna add some little circles there. So I'm gonna convert entities that. Now I'm gonna go with the center line. Yeah, doesn't matter. The geometry plane. Boom. Now I got a plane that is right there. And now that equal. Now choose this point, choose that line, coincident. 0.05. And then I'm gonna revolve here accidentally. I want to change the color of these two, this carbon. And now I can do the circular pattern. Right. So hopefully you reached a point that is more or less like this. I just want to show you guys the last thing, that way I can like finish the video and just help you guys out with anything else that remains to be done. But if you go here to where it says motion study, right, which is this tab at the very bottom. And I also definitely check out the video from last class because I figured out some pretty interesting things about how to make animations. But the important thing here is that if you go down to motion study, there is a little button in here that's called motor. So I can click on motor, and I know for a fact because I've been playing around with this yesterday evening, but I can choose, for instance, the main gear, which would be that one in there. And I can say I want this to go at an RPM of 5. And I say, okay. And I'm going to make this go for 8 seconds. So look at this magic, right? When I click go. I'm not doing anything. My hands are off the screen. It's just spinning by itself, which I think it's pretty cool. And it's all because of the gear mates that we established. I think like 5 RPM is like a decently quick speed. Now you can go from this basic design and go to the design where instead of having like 4 gears, now you have like 10, 8, like in all sorts of arrangements, like 16 or spinning around at the same time. It's just a quick extension from it. In fact, you could just copy paste this by 4 times. But I think that's cool. And then there's another thing, which is if I click here on where it says orientation, I can click on here where it says disable key. And as long as that little key is pressed on, then say I can do something like this. And you see that now it creates like a different key. So now if I were to do like this, it stores the position at which I'm going. Then I can do maybe for the next 6 seconds. What if you rotate a little bit like that? And for the last 8 seconds, let's return to this configuration. So what does this do? Is that now you can see that it's moving to the positions that I had given it. So it makes a pretty cool animation, right? And that's not terribly difficult to do. So you guys can play around with this. It's using like this. I clicked on this and I unclicked on there. And as long as that key is there, you can, for instance, I can go from here and go to like minute 10 and I can say right now I want this to go like that. So that is exactly what it does. Excellent. And then since we're here, right, just for completeness, we could make an exploded view of this thing like very, very quickly. So what I can say is click on this thing and bring it downwards. I think this is a good exercise where doing an exploded view would actually be very useful. I bring that in there. And click done. So now what I can do still in our animation is that I am gonna, well, first I'm gonna collapse our view. And an animation I can add in here, animation wizard, I wanna explode. Duration, yeah, I can do 5 seconds. Timer, finish. So now you can see that now it's just showing you. And it's still spinning, well, which is the best part of all of this. And then I can add another animation and collapse this. Yeah, duration 5 seconds, start time 13, that makes sense. And then with our key, all right, so let's see this full animation, what it does. So it's like spinning, and it's changing the view. So now if you ever build something for a class or for your research, you can show how it gets built, how the different parts interact with each other, how it gets assembled. Ah. So now you got it all in videos. I'm gonna save this and I'll obviously upload to the website. And save the document. But now let me just exit SolidWorks for a moment because it's already 11:49 and I do need to run right after this. But just one last thing that I do want to say. Yeah, let me just ignore that is that Well, we did the spinning teacups. I will still have office hours on Sunday if you guys have any other lingering questions. And as usual, just email me if you ever need any help with anything that is CAD related. But yes, this is the end of the class, really. We made it, it was a nice experiment that I ran with all of you guys teaching this thing. So now I think you are empowered to do a lot of fantastic stuff. Uh, we'll see where it takes you. Now you can CAD. As I said, to CAD almost anything, you have to practice a lot. But I think now you know about the different skills that are out there, and I think I've taken you for a variety of different objects, all very distinct, right? That you could do from the banana to carbon nanotubes, or even the kind of diet coke. So yes, just I hope you enjoyed it. I will send a form afterwards because I need feedback to improve as a teacher and to potentially make this class for more people to enjoy in the future. Uh, and maybe you guys could be my teaching assistants someday, or be the all together just teaching. But that's what I want to say. Now I'll end the presentation and I'll. I think what I'm gonna try to do to make it more interesting is I'm not gonna make it into cups. You can make cups, but I wanna make like a. I'm gonna make it like as if it was like a plastic cup of a Starbucks cup to give you an idea. I think that's gonna be more interesting. So I'm gonna go here, do cup gear, and I'm gonna start building off from there. Bird. Oh. There we go. I mean, like a massive, it's like a massive cup. It goes all the way like that. Oh, we can give this a lead. I was actually looking up this. I'm thinking of. I don't want to make it. I just want to figure out. I've done a lead before in the past. I just want to come up with like the design. So I think what we could do is make that into a construction geometry, and then it's like a yeah something like that. It seems. That's you. Um, there we go. And then I can fill it this. And don't worry about defining stuff for now. I'm gonna give you guys a free opportunity just to play with your imagination. Let's see how this would look like if I were to. And then I can do a little revolve right here. Ah, okay. That look too bad. Let me see. Maybe we can do a little fillet of this thing around there. Oh, let's see. I'm just and then obviously this stuff in here. I mean, we would need to make like a little convert entities there. It would need like a little space from where you would drink. Make this and that equal. I mean, I'm making a cup, but you can make I mean like a plastic cup, you can make it into like properly a teacup. It's up to you, whatever you find more interesting. This is just to have a little bit more variety in our designs. That's fine. Mm, Offset entities. This might be interesting. Wait, there we go. That one I'm gonna leave it like that. And then I'm gonna go to trim. And do close, and I'm gonna get rid of a couple of these lines. Yeah, I really don't know like how the lids look like, but I think this is like a pretty decent representation. Maybe I'm gonna make it like a little fillet there, that way we can pretend it's nice and soft. There we go. So now we go back to our assembly. We see that indeed we have spinning coffee cups instead of teacups, and they're all spinning at the same time, which is pretty cool. Just to have like a different application. And now, before I start going around, just one last thing that I'm gonna do is you can go here to again your cup gear. And for instance, in there, let's see if we find a plane. Oh, that one looks nice. And you can put your logo, if you guys remember. So I can convert entities. I'm gonna convert entities, those two lines. That way I have them as references. And what I'm gonna do is I go here to tools, sketch tools, sketch picture, and let's see if I find the MIT logo again. There we go. And I can just literally bring it there. I think I'm gonna make it 1 inch big. That sounds good. Work off on this one. Maybe I'll make it slightly bigger. Very good. Maybe even slightly bigger. There's an MIT branded teacup, right? Coffee cup, I mean. And now I can just do our usual rectangles. There we go. And now I can just exit my sketch. I can suppress the pictures. What I can do is go to features, then wrap, and I can wrap this around here. It's like yes, it's following like that. Maybe let me try. No, that one's not gonna work. Let's see. Yes, it's wrapping in it's following exactly correct. I think it's fine like that. Then we can color it and everything, but now we go back here. Just if I spin one of them, all the other ones spin at the same time. So we can leave it like that. Anyways, let me help you guys out. But what I'm gonna do when you guys are working on this, I'm gonna start coloring my stuff, right? Because I just wanna give this some color. So I'm gonna go back to my cups in here, and I'll give these ones. There we go. I'll change that. I believe it's gray. The revolve. See here. Well, you know, our assembly looks like now. I think it's funny. It's just like humorous to have like these coffee cups there. It's a reflection of my life this past week. Because I think I haven't chugged so much coffee in the last 5 days as I've ever did in my life. It's good, you know. Don't be like me. Try to live a life without coffee. I'm gonna save this and I'll call it. Yeah, so it's fine. I'll give you guys some time. For instance, I can go back to like the cup guy, right? And I can do a sketch on the what was our plane? It was plane one, right? So I do a sketch here, and I can convert entities like that line, and just literally. In my case, I'm yeah, I'll do it. It should be fine. Could be something that looks like that. You just right, and then you can extrude in both directions. Wait. There we go. Again, fillet. Now this is an interesting looking cup because it also has a handle. Never seen one of these, but you know, why not, right? Huh? Like it, they all spin at the same time. It's very satisfying. Let me just do one thing with you guys is let just so that then we can work with the remainder of the time. I'm gonna go back to like this gear, the one in the middle, to make a roof for all this structure, and then we can do an animation together. Because we don't have a whole lot of time left. So I want to do that. So we can go here to the main gear, which is the one that remains. I'm gonna do a quick sketch, and I'm gonna design like some form of structure that goes. In fact, what I could do is not even like that. Let's see. I can do it in the front plane. Yeah, that should work. I'm gonna convert entities. There we go. And I want this stuff to be that tall. Let's see, how tall would that be? Well, maybe much taller than that. So I'm gonna go main gear. I'm gonna make that 4 tall. Good. And maybe I'm gonna make a center line like that. So I'll start doing a little spline. That tangent, very good. And now a spline. Let me go like that and that tangent as well. I'm gonna bring that inwards. Good. And maybe what I could do is another line over here to make these two tangent. And then I can do a mirror of this stuff around there. Very good. Oh, all right, because I need to do another mirror of both. I forgot it was 2 parts. Excellent. Now I can close this off. Now I can close this off over there. Very good. And now we can just do a revolve around here. So now we got ourselves like a nice looking column. There is some structure in there. That looks decent. And then I'm gonna just make myself a roof. Oh, you go back here. No, I'll go back here, sketch. I'm gonna convert entities. This over there. And I want my roof to be. Actually, I'm gonna go back to sketch. Yes. I'm gonna measure, evaluate, measure. How big is that? 4.5. Okay. I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna make this 2.25. That way we have a good reference. Expect. I mean, you can be creative, right? Where how you make it. I'm just goofing around in here, making some structure. I'm gonna close it off like that. I'm gonna make this and that be tangent. And I'm gonna try with just one last thing. Make a sphere afterwards there. So I think this is almost closed off. I just need to do a line that goes here and there. Boom. And then make a revolve around here. How does this look? Okay, that looks okay. Hmm? This little structure. Hmm. Let's see. Oh, I see what I'll modify that afterwards. I mean, I'm just experimenting here while you guys are working on your own roofs. I'm just trying to see how would this look like. Just like some structures that are coming off. And then again, do a circular pattern of these around here. Let's make it 25. I'm not sure what I'm making in here, but it looks interesting. Let's just say your creativity looks like a palm tree, like some sort of hat. And I'm just gonna color this. Yes. I can show you. I'm just playing around like which on the video. I'm really not sure what exactly I'm doing. Is just for fun. Uh, I'm gonna change those to green. Even I change this one. Let me show you. That one. See how that looks like in the assembly. It looks like the Mario Kart palm trees there or something along those lines. No, the way to do that is yes, I did really a circular pattern, right? Well, a revolve of first the column, which is that profile that I made there, and then I made a roof. But here it's just decorative, right? You can do whatever you want as your, and this is just like another circular pattern that is off that just comes off that structure in there. Like nothing too fancy, to be honest. But really, the reason why I'm doing all of this is because now I want to show you guys one last thing before you continue. Just if you guys want to look at the screen one moment, which is let's go to motion study. And in motion study, what I want to click is in this button that's called motor. If I click in motor and then I select that little face down there, which is our main gear, I'm going to make it 5 RPM and I'll say OK. So now look at this. If I make it run, my hands are in here. I'm not making it spin. It's spinning by itself, which is pretty cool. So now I can make it go all the way to 8. And you're gonna spin. And then there's a bunch of things. If you guys see the animation video on how to make animations, but I think I mastered some things out. Is if you go to orientation, I can right click in there and it was just disable view key creation. I'm gonna actually click in there. And now, for instance, say like I'm like here, right? So I can change, I can correct my orientation, right? And you see that now it's like creating a key. So then I can go to second floor and I can say, all right, I actually want the view to change to be like this. And it's actually dynamically changing. Then I can go, what about this? And then for the last 8 seconds, I can do something like this. Then I can go all the way back to the beginning and you see that on all of the positions that I saved it, now it's actually going to those, which is pretty cool. Like you can get started with making fun animations. And then another thing is we can go back to configuration and make a quick exploded view. So I can say, all right, I want to start by bringing that downwards and I say done. Actually, that maybe do that. Then maybe I can bring that downwards as well. Then that upwards, done, then all of the teacups, done. There we go. Then and the same thing with that one. I click done. I'm gonna click OK. Now I'm actually, let me go back to, let me collapse the view 1 second. But what I can do now is I can go here to animation wizard and I'm gonna insert the exploded view, right? And I can say I want that to last 5 seconds. Start time, yes, that's fine. And then for the orientation key, I want it to go like that. Then like this. And then I want to start now a collapse. I'm gonna say duration 5, finish, finish like that. And then in here, I just wanna go like this. So let's see what does this video look like. So, what I like it is that it's still spinning, right? While the exploded view or collapse is happening, which is pretty cool because it shows how this thing works. So now you got it. So now you guys can try it. I'll still leave this up, but I'll go around answering any lingering questions. But I wanted to show you all of this stuff. That way you are empowered now to do it afterwards.